Art School 013, Art School 13. Who will survive? Who will survive? Those who can do things differently, who can operate independently of the present method of doing things. Things like food procurement, habitation, and so on. Right, humans find themselves in existence on Earth. The first thing they should do is stop everything and study the intricacies in order to determine a constructive role for themselves and how they fit in. But, oh no, what did they say? They are Homo sapiens, superior to all. They are the king of all, the sovereign of their domain. And then ramrod their way right through it all. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Homo, so-called sapiens, or whatever. You know, who gave you permission to build New York or any of the other monuments to man's menial disaster? They aren't allowed to do it yet. And you went right ahead with impunity. They weren't allowed to do it yet. You went right ahead with impunity. You know, that sounds sensationalistic, but let's you and me pause for a second and view this realistically. After all, this city thing isn't really working out that well. Let's be honest, you know. What if there was a better way to do it that would be a lot more conducive not only to our well-being, better able to facilitate not only making a living, but also of doing quite well economically, not only, but also. Now, I realize it's a little bit too late to kind of go around and tear the whole thing down and start over again. People got just a little bit carried away with themselves, didn't they? You know, I could say but, you know, the only time I got involved with the building thing was helping Chief Moai in Tutuila Island build his concrete house, you know, so what do you mean we, Kemosabe, you know? But I have to be realistic and set this down right here and now, which is probably in your past, you know, if you're not seeing this immediately, which you're not. Those cities are just examples of what I'm trying to get at here. The list goes on, and I wouldn't be trying to express this if there weren't other ways of finding out what to do. If you build an aircraft, if you build a boat, you have to obey certain laws of physics. There are principles of the universe. I know that sounds vague. Perhaps there's a better word than just the universe per se. But what I'm trying to say, and I managed to touch on it, is that there is really a right way to do things. Or shall we say, even with the benefit of the doubt, a more correct way of doing things. And it's not that hard for the average walking around human being, just like all of us here, to find out. It's, as I always say, a find out is better than a find out. Okay, now you're thinking probably that I'm just leaving it all and telling you, okay, you can find out, and aren't I clever, and bye now, and and that's the end of the story for me. Do the rest yourself. But I tell you what, I won't do that. Let's progress from here. It's kind of what a lot of artists do. Reach out for something more than the mundane. Look at the stars without trying to categorize them, and feed the birds. What? You mean that's it? No, but it's sort of a beginning, you know. Those of you who believe like I once did, before I began to start to piece this thing together, that the appearance of the stars is nothing more than accidental randomness that has no significance at all, you're in for a pleasant surprise if you begin to find out that no matter what there is, nothing in existence is without significance. Think of nature as a part of your library. You can read it, but learning its vocabulary and picking up the literacy is not a school days type of thing. You know, you can be out in nature for a period of time, and then after a couple of hours, once you're used to it, meanings will tend to congeal for you. Dang, somebody's texting me. The meaning's congealing already. 2 missed calls. All right, so meanings will tend to congeal for you, and you can begin to understand or sense a certain flow. Now it's like getting away from cubism, away from 2 dimensions, getting away from, realism, 3 dimensions. And we're getting into now tempoism, 4 dimensions. So you want to thank me? I'll say, don't dimension. Okay, so think of nature as your library, right? You're going to begin, give it a time, it's going to come in, you're going to sense a certain flow. As a human being, you have entered into this sort of existence with the wherewithal to really do something. The misconception of labor is doing small things with your physical body. Getting more towards the right idea is the tendency to do the key thing in each instance. The same with looking at the stars. You've got to kind of do this to be able to build something as big as a city, and yet have become a part of the real functioning universe. I know you probably won't agree with this argument, but I can see in what is being done that imposes itself on reality instead of being a part of it will lead to drastic and foreboding consequences. To what degree, I cannot tell, but it's going to be very extensive. So what am I trying to do here? Put some teeth in my statement? No. I know that disagreement will become more adamant the more I try to convince you. That's why I'm not trying. I'm not going to go there. What about the birds, The birds keep you as small as you are. They are wonderful. It's kind of like a Christmas present, a special kind of gift to help you stay in line and keep in place and enjoy the benefits of the reality of what you really are. I don't know why, but little birds tend to have a great knack for being able to do that. they're like little guardians. Once you've come down to where you really are, that's really being big. The real significance is in the reality of what you are, not in the false assumptions of some inflated, grandiose nature that turns out to be nothing but fiction. Why didn't people come up with this before? They do, all the time. But as soon as they come out and try to communicate, they get wiped out, you know? It's been that way throughout all history. There are those in the crowd who imagine those who touch on reality to be a threat. What can I tell you? Some people never grow up. Others grow up too fast and are just pretend grown-ups. Others complain about everything, and they are grown-ups. Oddly enough, being able to do things more in conformity to the reality of the way things really are, in the, for want of a better word, universe, increases wealth, increases prosperity, increases the general well-being of the entire populace, and is great for all the natural functions of the nature of what we really are. Such things as the two examples I cited here, the stars and the birds. It does something to your mental capabilities. You might say is really the key to genius, that high intelligence or the intelligence to really do things in a really great way. May not be something someone is born with, but it actually may be a drive taking place in the brain, an impetus to establish the neurological and psychological framework to be able to carry out certain thought sequences. And just so, this man-made, total synthetic situation is a downward spiral on a dead-end trip. It's going to do you in, buddy. Believe it or not. Bereave it or not. It's as I wrote in my poem, The Ballad of the Moby Dick. You're going to build a death trap, my boys. Get buried in the end. So proud of your plastic heaven, my lads. But she's a-going to do you in. Maybe you haven't noticed, but it's getting worse and worse out there in these cities. It's getting more and more expensive all the time. The social fabric is getting ripped to shreds. The people are mutating from sensitive, caring human beings into monsters of just plain dishonesty. Doesn't sound too good, does it? What can be done about it? Well, buddy, it looks like at this point, you just gotta let them go and let it all work itself out. It's going to get a heck of a lot worse before it gets any better. The picture I'm getting just about now is that it's going to destroy itself to the point that outside of the ruins of the cities, survivors are going to resume life, kind of like small village scenario from the Bronze Age. Just don't let yourself get propagandized as you try to get through it all. It's as I wrote in one of my poems, two kinds of prisoners on the earth just looking out between the bars. One kind sees only the mud on the ground. The other kind sees the stars. And we're all stuck here for now. Most are trying to make the best of it all at someone else's expense, while the rest of us are just trying to get through it. And if we can't help the others, then we'll just have to Leave them to stew in their own juice before they start trying to make the best of it at your expense.